Have you ever felt like life has become a series of predictable routines, leaving you wondering if it's too late to reclaim your energy and passion? If you're an older man watching this video, you're not alone. Today, we're diving into a journey that shows it's never too late to hit the reset button on your life. This video is for you, the man who's tired of the same old routine, who's seen his vitality fade away, and who might think that his best days are behind him. But what if I told you that there's a spark waiting to be ignited? A change that's possible with just a few small steps. In the next hour, we're going to explore real stories, research-backed ideas, and simple tips that can help you rediscover your strength, purpose, and zest for life. So sit back, relax, and get ready to take the first step toward a transformation that will redefine your everyday reality. And if you're ready to make a change, hit that subscribe button and stick around, because this is a journey you don't want to miss. Let's be honest. Many older men are facing a crisis that often goes unspoken. Every day, countless men wake up feeling drained and disillusioned by the monotony of routine. You might be dealing with a slow decline in energy, nagging health issues, or even the isolation that comes when the world seems to have moved on without you. Recent studies from institutions like Harvard Health and organizations like Men's Health have shown that as we age, it's common to experience a decline in physical strength and mental sharpness. But there's more to it than just physical change. Many older men face emotional challenges too. Loneliness, the loss of purpose, and the fear that it's too late to make a change can create a mental barrier that feels insurmountable. Research, even if some of it is based on emerging theories and personal testimonies, suggests that a lack of social connection can negatively affect both mental health and physical well-being. Think about it. Without regular interaction or a sense of belonging, even the simplest days can start to feel heavy. And it isn't just about feeling lonely. It's also about feeling like you're stuck in a loop, doing the same things day after day, without any real progress or excitement. But here's a thought. What if those struggles aren't the end of the story? What if they are the beginning of a transformative journey? In today's video, we're not here to dwell on the negatives. Instead, we're here to shine a light on the hidden crisis and, more importantly, show you that it's possible to break free from the cycle. We're going to dive into real stories, share some eye-opening research, and discuss actionable steps that can help you reclaim your life. It might sound too good to be true, but countless men have turned their lives around, proving that change isn't just for the young. It's for anyone willing to take that first small step toward a better tomorrow. Let me tell you about George, a man who in many ways represents the story of countless older men who have felt lost in the tide of routine and resignation. George isn't a celebrity or someone with extraordinary circumstances. He's an everyday guy, someone who once brimmed with hopes and dreams, but gradually saw those vibrant aspirations fade into the background of daily life. His story begins with the quiet acceptance of monotony, the kind that many of us have come to recognize in our own lives. George's mornings used to start exactly the same way every day. He would wake up to the sound of his alarm clock, a sound so familiar it had become the unofficial signal to face another day of routine. In the early hours, before the world fully woke up, he would shuffle into the kitchen, make himself a cup of coffee, and prepare a simple breakfast. There was comfort in this predictability. After all, it was a routine that had carried him through years of life's ups and downs. Yet, deep inside, George felt something was missing. There was a nagging emptiness, a sense that every day was just a repetition of the one before, that the spark he once had was slowly burning out. For years, George had been convinced that his life was meant to follow this steady, unremarkable course. He had built a world out of small habits, reading the morning paper, taking a quiet walk around the block, and then spending the rest of the day in front of the television or tending to mundane chores. This routine, though comfortable in its familiarity, began to feel more like a chain than a lifeline. Every repetitive day felt like another brick in a wall that separated him from the man he used to be. From the man who once believed that life could be filled with excitement, adventure, and endless possibilities. George had a family, a loving wife and children who adored him, but even within those close relationships, he felt a distance that he couldn't quite explain. Conversations often circled around the same topics, and moments of laughter were increasingly rare. He found himself nodding through discussions without really feeling a part of them. The energy that had once made him the life of gatherings and the rock of his family was now hidden behind a veil of routine and resignation. There was a time when George would have eagerly embraced the idea of new challenges. In his youth, he had dreams of exploring the world, of taking on adventures that would leave him with stories to tell. But somewhere along the way, as responsibilities grew and life's demands piled up, those dreams were quietly set aside. The busyness of everyday life had a way of dulling the edges of even the brightest aspirations, and before he knew it, he found himself living a life that, while safe and predictable, was far from the extraordinary journey he had once imagined. It wasn't that George didn't have the capacity for change, it was that he had gradually come to believe that change was for other people, not for someone like him. In his eyes, the vibrant chapters of life were reserved for the young, for those with boundless energy and limitless possibilities. He had internalized a notion, one that is all too common among older men, that his time for reinvention had passed, and so he continued on day after day as if moving through a well-worn script that dictated the pace and tone of his life. Yet, even in the midst of his routine, there were glimpses of the man he once was. There were moments, fleeting and almost imperceptible, when a spark of his old self would shine through. Perhaps it was in the way he paused to admire a beautiful sunset or in the rare burst of laughter shared with an old friend. These moments were like tiny embers buried deep within him, waiting for the right conditions to burst into flame. But for years, those embers remained hidden, smothered by the weight of routine and the belief that change was no longer possible. One seemingly ordinary afternoon, while George was taking his habitual walk through the neighborhood park, a route he had traversed countless times without much thought, something unexpected happened. The park, usually a backdrop to his quiet, solitary strolls, seemed to take on a new light that day. The air felt different, as if charged with possibility, and the usual symphony of rustling leaves and distant bird calls suddenly carried a hint of promise. As he ambled along the winding paths, lost in his own thoughts, George's eyes caught sight of something, or rather, someone, that would forever alter the course of his journey. There, on a weathered bench beneath a large oak tree, sat a man who radiated a kind of energy and warmth that was impossible to ignore. This stranger, whose name was later revealed to be Dave, was engaged in a quiet conversation with another parkgoer. Dave's face was animated, his eyes sparkling with a genuine enthusiasm that belied his unassuming appearance. He wore simple clothes, yet his presence commanded attention without any need for grand gestures. For a brief moment, George paused, drawn by a force he couldn't quite articulate, a magnetic pull toward something that felt profoundly right. Unable to resist the impulse, George slowed his pace and moved closer, as if the universe itself had conspired to bring him there. It was in that moment, standing just a few feet away from Dave, that the seeds of transformation were sown. Dave, noticing the curiosity in George's eyes, offered a warm smile and a simple greeting that broke the ice. "Good afternoon," he said in a tone that was both inviting and sincere. That small exchange marked the beginning of something far greater than either of them could have imagined. As they began to talk, Dave's words resonated with George in a way that was both surprising and deeply moving. Dave spoke about life not as a series of endings, but as a continuous journey of reinvention. He shared his own experiences of change, how he had once felt stuck in a cycle of mediocrity and resignation, much like George. But instead of accepting that fate, Dave had chosen to embrace the possibility of transformation. "It's never too late to rewrite your story," he said, his voice carrying the weight of both conviction and compassion. "Sometimes, all it takes is one small change to open up a whole new world of possibility." Those words lingered in George's mind long after their conversation ended. For the first time in years, he found himself questioning the narrative he had built around his life. Could it really be that simple? Had he been holding himself back all along by accepting a status quo that was far from his true potential? The encounter with Dave acted as a mirror, reflecting back to George the untapped reservoirs of energy, hope, and possibility that he had long believed were lost to time. Over the days and weeks that followed, George found himself replaying that conversation in his mind. Every detail, the tone of Dave's voice, the warmth in his smile, the simplicity of his message, became a beacon of light that gradually chipped away at the wall of resignation that had surrounded him for so long. It wasn't an immediate, dramatic overhaul of his life. Change, as he was beginning to understand, was a gradual process built on small, deliberate steps. But with each passing day, the idea that he could change, that he could rediscover the man he once was, grew stronger. George began to pay closer attention to the little things that once brought him joy. He remembered the thrill of a spontaneous adventure, the excitement of trying something new, and the satisfaction that came from overcoming even the smallest of challenges. He recalled the days when he felt invincible, when every new experience was met with open arms and an eager heart. Those memories, long buried beneath layers of routine, started to resurface, and with them came a newfound desire to recapture that spark of youth and passion. Slowly, George started to experiment with change. It began with minor adjustments: a different route on his walk, a change in his breakfast routine, a few minutes of conversation with a neighbor he had always greeted but never truly spoken with. Each small change felt like a step into uncharted territory. And though the steps were tentative at first, they soon became more confident. There was an undeniable thrill in breaking free from the invisible chains of routine, even if just for a moment. It wasn't long before these small acts of defiance against his old way of living began to add up. George started noticing that he was feeling more alert in the mornings, more engaged during the day, and even a little more hopeful about the future. There were days when he felt a surge of energy that he hadn't experienced in years, a sense that perhaps his life wasn't destined to remain in the same unchanging rhythm. These moments, however fleeting, were enough to convince him that the man he had once been was still there, waiting for him to reach out and reclaim his life. Friends and family began to notice the change too. At first it was subtle, a smile here, a spark of enthusiasm there, but over time the transformation became more pronounced. Conversations that used to be laced with quiet resignation were now filled with the possibility of something new. George's renewed interest in life wasn't about a sudden burst of energy or a dramatic reinvention. It was about a slow, steady reawakening of a spirit that had been lying dormant for far too long. One afternoon, as George sat on his porch with a cup of coffee, he reflected on how much his life had changed in such a short period. The man he had been, a man resigned to the predictability of routine, content to let his days pass in quiet monotony, was still there, but now he was joined by a new version of himself. One who was curious, open, and willing to take a chance on life. The realization was both humbling and exhilarating. He understood that his journey wasn't about turning back the clock or denying the realities of aging. It was about embracing the wisdom that comes with age and using it as a springboard for growth. George's story is not just his own. It's the story of countless older men who have found themselves at a crossroads, questioning whether their best days are truly behind them. It's a story of resilience, of the courage to challenge the status quo, and of the quiet power that comes from believing in the possibility of change. Through his journey, George discovered that the true measure of a life well lived isn't in the number of years, but in the willingness to keep growing, learning, and evolving no matter what stage of life you're in. Every time he took a step outside his comfort zone, no matter how small, George was writing a new chapter in his life. And with each new chapter, the pages of his story began to fill with hope, energy, and a sense of purpose that had been missing for far too long. His journey was a reminder that even the most ordinary of lives can become extraordinary when we allow ourselves to break free from the confines of routine and dare to dream again. In sharing his story, George hoped to inspire others who felt trapped by the monotony of daily life. He wanted them to know that change isn't reserved for the young or the exceptionally gifted. It's available to anyone willing to take that first small step. His journey was a testament to the idea that every man, no matter his age, has the capacity to rediscover his passion, reconnect with his purpose, and ultimately rewrite his story in a way that brings fulfillment and joy. George's every day had once been marked by quiet resignation, but now each day was an opportunity. A blank page waiting to be filled with new experiences, new connections, and a renewed sense of self. His transformation was a journey of rediscovery, a reminder that deep within each of us lies a spark of potential that can be ignited with just a little encouragement, a touch of inspiration, and the willingness to step into the unknown. So if you see a bit of yourself in George's story, remember this: the power to change isn't locked away in your youth. It's right here, waiting to be awakened. It starts with the recognition that the life you've been living doesn't have to be the only life you ever know. With every small act of courage, every new habit, every positive thought, every moment of genuine connection, you can reclaim that spark and build a future that is richer, more vibrant, and more fulfilling than you ever imagined possible. George's story continues to unfold with each passing day. His journey is not a fairy tale with a neatly wrapped ending, but rather a continuous evolution, a testament to the fact that life's greatest adventures often begin with the smallest steps. And while he may still face challenges and moments of doubt, the knowledge that he can change, grow, and thrive has become a guiding light in his everyday life. In the end, George is not defined by the number of years he has lived, but by the courage he shows each day in choosing to live life fully, to embrace the possibility of change, and to share his journey with others who might be searching for a way out of the mundane. His is a story of hope, a reminder that every man has the capacity to rise above routine and create a legacy that speaks to the power of transformation and the enduring human spirit. Every time you hear George's story, let it be a call to action. It's a gentle yet powerful invitation to look at your own life and ask, what more could I be? What small step can I take today to reignite the spark of life within me? Because just like George, you hold within you the potential for a vibrant, exciting future. And no matter how long you've been walking the same path, it's never too late to change direction and begin a journey of rediscovery. Let George's journey remind you that even the most unassuming life can hide incredible potential, waiting for the moment when you decide to take that first brave step toward a better tomorrow. His story is not just an account of past regrets or future promises. It's a living, breathing example of how change can start with a single moment, a single conversation, and a single decision to believe that something better is not only possible, but is waiting just around the corner. And so, as we continue to share George's story, let it inspire you to challenge your own assumptions, break free from the chains of routine, and embrace the endless possibilities that come with each new day. Because in the end, the story of every man is a story of potential. A story that, when written with courage and conviction, becomes a legacy of hope, resilience, and the unwavering belief that it's never too late to live a life worth remembering. Sometimes, the tiniest spark can light the largest flame. For many older men, the idea that change is even possible can seem almost unimaginable. But what if the catalyst for change isn't a grand event or a dramatic upheaval, but rather a quiet conversation, an unexpected encounter, or even a small shift in perspective? In this part of our journey, we'll explore how inspiration strikes when you least expect it, how even the smallest nudge can challenge deeply held beliefs, and how shifting your mindset can open up a whole new world of possibility. This isn't about overnight miracles. It's about gradual, powerful change that begins with a single thought and blossoms into a full-blown transformation. Imagine a crisp morning in a local park. The dew is still on the grass, and the world is waking up to the promise of a new day. In this quiet moment, a man named George, like many of us, was walking along his familiar route, his mind weighed down by routine and a lingering sense that his best days were behind him. Then, out of the blue, he heard a voice that cut through the silence. It wasn't a loud proclamation or an overt demand for change. It was simply a gentle remark from a stranger sitting on a bench feeding the birds. "It's never too late to start something new," the stranger said. Those words reverberated in George's mind long after the encounter ended. That conversation, though brief, was the catalyst for a profound shift. For years, George had believed that his life was predetermined by his habits and his age, that the routine he had settled into was unchangeable, but that small moment of inspiration planted a seed of doubt about the inevitability of his stagnation. And as that seed grew, so did his willingness to question the status quo. You see, inspiration often comes in forms we don't expect. It might be a kind word from a stranger, a memory of better times, or even a sudden realization that the small changes we've been resisting could make a big difference. Many older men have reported that their journeys began not with a dramatic event, but with subtle shifts in their thinking. They began to see that their routines weren't set in stone and that a few small modifications could gradually lift the weight of despair. Take, for example, the experience of a man named Frank. Frank was in his late 60s, burdened by a series of health setbacks and a pervasive feeling of loneliness. One afternoon, while scrolling through his social media feed, he stumbled upon a story of an older gentleman who had taken up painting after retirement. Frank had never considered himself artistic, but something about that story struck a chord deep within him. He started researching more stories of older men reinventing themselves. Stories that, although not backed by rock-solid science, were filled with raw passion and undeniable hope. Frank began to believe that his own transformation was possible if he dared to change his perspective. Research, even if not entirely conclusive, plays an important role in these stories. There are emerging theories and studies that suggest that the brain remains remarkably plastic well into later life, a concept known as neuroplasticity. While some of these ideas are still debated in academic circles, the underlying message is clear. The human brain has the capacity to adapt, learn, and change at any age. This means that the mindset we hold, whether we see ourselves as capable or as past our prime, can significantly influence our well-being and our ability to transform our lives. Now let's talk about the role of mindset in all of this. A lot of us are held back by limiting beliefs. We think, I'm too old to start over, or my habits are too ingrained to change. But what if those beliefs are simply stories we've been telling ourselves for too long? Changing your mindset is about challenging these internal narratives and replacing them with a more empowering story. And the best part is, it doesn't require a complete overhaul of your life. It only takes a shift in how you view yourself and the world around you. When George started reflecting on the stranger's words he'd heard in the park, he began to see that his thoughts were often his own worst enemy. Every time he caught himself thinking, I'm too old for this, he made a conscious effort to reframe his thought into something positive. Like, I have a lifetime of experience that can guide me through this new phase. At first, this change in thinking felt awkward, like trying on a new pair of shoes that didn't quite fit. But with time and repetition, the new way of thinking started to feel natural, and the old limiting beliefs began to lose their grip. Another part of shifting your mindset involves embracing the idea of imperfection. Many older men feel that they must be perfect in order to change, completing every workout flawlessly, sticking to a strict diet, or mastering a new skill immediately. The truth is, transformation is messy. It's full of ups and downs, victories and setbacks. What matters most is not how perfectly you execute each step, but that you keep moving forward. Each small effort, even if it's imperfect, is a victory in itself. There's also a social dimension to this process. Inspiration doesn't happen in isolation. It's often fueled by connection with others. Think about the power of a supportive conversation. When you share your struggles with a friend or join a group where others are on similar journeys, you realize that you're not alone. That realization can be incredibly empowering. It creates a sense of belonging and reminds you that change is not only possible but also contagious. Stories of transformation, whether shared in person or online, often ripple through communities, inspiring more and more people to take that first step. For instance, consider the experience of a local support group that began meeting in community centers across the country. These groups were formed by older men who had reached a tipping point, a moment when they decided they had had enough of feeling trapped by their routines. They shared their experiences, talked about their setbacks, and celebrated every small success. Over time, what started as a simple gathering evolved into a full-blown movement. Men began to tell their stories online, creating a network of inspiration that extended far beyond the walls of a community center. Even if some of the claims made in these circles were more hopeful than rigorously tested, they provided a spark of motivation that many found impossible to ignore. What's interesting is that many of these stories and experiences have a common thread. They all begin with a change in perspective. It's as if once a man dares to believe that change is possible, even if only in the smallest way, everything else starts falling into place. And while not every change will lead to dramatic results, the cumulative effect of small adjustments can be truly remarkable. When you start by changing how you think about your possibilities, you open yourself up to new opportunities in every area of your life. Let's dive a bit deeper into the science behind this. Recent studies in the field of psychology have shown that our thoughts can influence our physical health. For example, a positive mindset has been linked to lower levels of stress hormones, better immune function, and even improved cardiovascular health. While the exact mechanisms are still being explored, the evidence suggests that believing in your ability to change can have real, measurable benefits for your body. And even if you're skeptical of some of these claims, there's no harm in trying to adopt a more positive outlook. It might just be the catalyst you need to start moving in a healthier direction. Of course, changing your mindset isn't a one-time event. It's a continuous process. Every day brings new challenges and old habits that want to pull you back into your comfort zone. That's why it's important to have strategies in place to reinforce your new way of thinking. For many men, this means setting aside time for reflection. Whether it's through journaling, meditation, or simply a quiet walk in nature, finding moments to center yourself and reconnect with your goals can be incredibly powerful. Take George, for example. After that pivotal conversation in the park, he began to carry a small journal with him. Every evening, he'd jot down one positive thought, one small victory, or even one challenge he faced during the day. At first, it felt like a tedious task, but soon he noticed that the act of writing was like having a conversation with his future self, a future that was full of possibility. Over time, those journal entries became a source of inspiration, a tangible record of his progress that he could look back on during tough times. Another effective strategy is to create reminders for yourself throughout the day. This could be as simple as a sticky note on your bathroom mirror that says, change is possible, or a daily affirmation that you recite every morning. These small prompts can serve as anchors, pulling you back to your new mindset whenever old thoughts start creeping in. It's about creating an environment, both physically and mentally, that reinforces the belief that you are capable of change. And don't forget the power of role models. Sometimes, all it takes is seeing someone else who has walked a similar path to spark your own desire for transformation. There are countless examples online of older men who have reinvented themselves later in life, whether it's taking up a new hobby, changing careers, or simply embracing a healthier lifestyle. These stories, even if they aren't 100% backed by scientific proof, carry a message of hope and possibility. They remind you that age is not a barrier. It's just another number, and the human spirit is capable of incredible things at any stage of life. You might have heard of the concept of late bloomers before, a term that's often used to describe individuals who achieve greatness or find their calling later in life. While some may argue that this is just a romantic notion, there's a growing body of evidence suggesting that the brain and body continue to develop well into our senior years. Neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire itself, is one such area that has captured the attention of researchers. Even if the science is still evolving, the takeaway is clear. You have the potential to learn new things, adopt new habits, and fundamentally change the way you experience life. Now let's circle back to that first spark of inspiration. It wasn't a grand epiphany or a dramatic revelation. It was a quiet moment that stirred something deep inside. And that's often how change begins. Not with a loud, sweeping declaration, but with a whisper, a gentle reminder that you're still capable, still valuable, and still ready for more. For many older men, that whisper can be the most profound sound of all. Sometimes, you might find that inspiration comes from unexpected sources. Perhaps it's a book you read that challenges your assumptions, a documentary that opens your eyes to new possibilities, or even a conversation with someone who has faced similar struggles. These moments can be fleeting, but their impact can last a lifetime. They serve as gentle nudges, urging you to take a closer look at your life and ask yourself, what more is there for me? In many ways, shifting your mindset is like tending to a garden. At first, you might see only weeds, old habits, negative thoughts, and self-doubt. But with a little care, patience, and persistence, those weeds can be pulled and new, vibrant ideas can take root. You start to notice small sprouts of hope, a new interest, a renewed sense of energy, or even a slight improvement in your overall mood. And as you nurture these sprouts, they grow, eventually blossoming into a full garden of possibilities. There are also moments when the journey feels lonely. Changing your mindset means confronting parts of yourself that you've long ignored or accepted as unchangeable. It can be challenging, and sometimes it feels like you're wading through thick fog. But remember, even the fog eventually lifts. With time, persistence, and a willingness to embrace vulnerability, that fog gives way to clarity. You begin to see that the person you thought you were, trapped in routine and limited by your past, is capable of so much more than you ever imagined. Many older men have shared that the shift in mindset didn't come with a sudden burst of energy, but rather a gradual accumulation of small victories. Each time you challenge a limiting thought or try a new habit, you add another brick to the foundation of a more confident, resilient self. Over time, these bricks form a sturdy structure that can withstand the challenges of daily life. And even on days when you feel like you're taking 2 steps back for every step forward, that foundation remains steady, supportive, and ready to carry you through. In this journey of inspiration and shifting mindsets, it's important to celebrate every milestone, no matter how small. Did you manage to get out of bed and take a short walk when you felt like staying in? Did you replace a negative thought with a positive one, even for just a few minutes? These moments matter. They are the building blocks of transformation, proof that change is not only possible but already happening within you. Ultimately, the catalyst for change is about more than just an isolated moment of inspiration. It's about the ongoing process of challenging your inner voice, embracing new ideas, and opening yourself up to the endless possibilities that life still holds. It's a journey of self-discovery and reinvention that proves, time and again, that every day is a chance to start anew. So the next time you're feeling stuck in a rut or overwhelmed by the weight of routine, remember that inspiration can come from the most unexpected places. A conversation in the park, a book on a rainy day, or even a quiet moment of reflection can be the spark that sets you on a path of transformation. Embrace those moments, let them remind you that change is always within reach, and allow yourself to be moved by the simple, yet profound idea that it's never too late to shift your mindset. In the end, shifting your mindset is not just about thinking differently, it's about living differently. It's about breaking free from the chains of self-doubt, rejecting the notion that your best days are behind you, and daring to imagine a future where you are vibrant, engaged, and full of possibility. And while the journey might be long and filled with ups and downs, every step you take is a victory over the old, limiting beliefs that once held you back. As you move forward, let this idea echo in your mind. Every small change in thought can lead to a cascade of positive actions. And even if the science behind neuroplasticity and the power of mindset is still evolving, there's no denying the personal truth that comes from experiencing it firsthand. When you begin to see yourself not as a victim of age or circumstance, but as a living, breathing testament to the power of change, you unlock a level of freedom that is nothing short of transformative. So take a deep breath, embrace that spark of inspiration, and remember that the journey of shifting your mindset is a lifelong adventure. Each day brings a new opportunity to learn, to grow, and to redefine what's possible for you. And with every small victory, you build a legacy of resilience and hope. One that not only changes your own life, but also inspires others to do the same. Keep challenging those old beliefs, stay open to new experiences, and never lose sight of the fact that deep within you lies the power to transform your world. It all starts with a whisper, a quiet reminder that change is always within your grasp. And when you allow that whisper to grow into a roar, nothing can stand in your way. George's journey of transformation wasn't about radical overhauls overnight. It was about small, deliberate steps that slowly but surely led to a complete turnaround in his life. Let's break down the blueprint that he followed, a blueprint that you can adapt to your own life as well. Physical rejuvenation. First up is your body. Your body is the foundation of your life, and taking care of it is non-negotiable. For George, the physical transformation began with nutrition. By swapping out processed foods for whole, nutrient-rich options, he noticed an immediate difference in his energy and overall well-being. It wasn't about jumping on the latest fad diet, it was about making simple, sustainable changes. Think of it as a gradual shift, adding more fruits and vegetables, reducing sugar intake, and staying hydrated throughout the day. Then came exercise. Remember how George started with just a 10-minute walk? That's the beauty of small changes. They build momentum. As he started to see improvements, he added light resistance training and some balance exercises to his routine. These exercises are especially important for older men as they help maintain muscle mass and reduce the risk of falls. And don't worry if you're not a gym rat. Even a daily walk and some gentle stretches can make a huge difference. Mental and emotional wellness. Next, let's talk about your mind. As men, we're often conditioned to put our emotions on the back burner. But mental health is just as crucial as physical health. For George, embracing mindfulness was a game changer. He began practicing meditation and deep breathing exercises, even if it was just for a few minutes each day. These practices helped him manage stress, clear his mind, and even improve his sleep. Another important part of mental wellness is challenging the negative beliefs that hold you back. George had spent years thinking, "I'm too old to change," or "my best days are behind me." With time, he learned to question these thoughts and replace them with positive affirmations. This shift wasn't instantaneous, but it set the stage for a more resilient, optimistic outlook on life. There's even emerging research, some of it still debated, that suggests that a positive mindset can have tangible benefits for your physical health. Social connection and community engagement. One of the most powerful aspects of George's transformation was the way he reconnected with others. Loneliness can be a silent killer, and for many older men, isolation is a serious challenge. George began reaching out to old friends, joining local groups, and even attending community events. By building a network of support, he not only improved his social life, but also found new opportunities for growth. Whether it was joining a walking club, volunteering, or simply catching up over coffee, these interactions enriched his life in ways he never expected. We're living in a time where technology can bridge the gap of isolation. Online communities, forums, and even social media groups dedicated to men's health and wellness have sprung up, offering a space where older men can share their experiences and support each other. While some of the claims made in these circles might not be 100% scientifically proven, they offer a sense of camaraderie and encouragement that's hard to find elsewhere. Embracing technology and new resources. Let's not forget the role of technology. Many older men feel left behind in this digital age, but the truth is, technology can be a powerful ally in your journey to better health. George started using health apps to track his daily steps, monitor his heart rate, and even keep a food diary. There are plenty of apps out there specifically designed for older adults, and while some of the claims about their benefits might be more hype than fact, they can provide structure and motivation. From online workout videos to meditation guides, technology offers a wealth of resources at your fingertips. And if you're someone who's skeptical about gadgets and apps, remember, you don't have to change everything at once. Start small. A fitness tracker, a meditation app, or even a simple digital calendar to plan your day can be enough to get you moving in the right direction. Now let's talk about the bumps in the road. No journey is without its challenges, and George's wasn't any different. There were days when old habits crept back in, when the allure of comfort threatened to derail his progress. It's perfectly normal to face setbacks. What matters is how you respond to them. One of the biggest obstacles for older men is the belief that it's too late to change. For years, many of us have internalized the idea that our prime is behind us. But here's the thing, change is not about age, it's about mindset. George learned to face his fears head-on. Every time he doubted his ability to change, he reminded himself that progress is measured in small steps. Whether it was a short walk, a healthier meal, or a few minutes of meditation, each small victory built his confidence. There were also practical challenges along the way. Maybe you've had a health scare or you're dealing with chronic pain. These issues can be discouraging, but they're not insurmountable. George found that by adapting his routines to fit his current capabilities, opting for gentle exercises instead of strenuous workouts, for instance, he could still make progress without overexerting himself. It's about finding what works for you and being patient with the process. Resilience also comes from community. When George felt like giving up, he turned to the people around him for support. Whether it was a friend's encouraging words, an online forum full of men who shared similar struggles, or even a motivational video, every bit of support helped him push through the tough days. And that's a lesson for all of us. You don't have to go through this alone. There's a whole network of men out there who are ready to lift you up when you need it most. One of the most inspiring parts of George's journey was not just the change he experienced in his own life, but the way that change started to ripple outwards. As he began to reclaim his energy and passion, George realized that his transformation was about more than just feeling better. It was about leaving a mark on the world and inspiring others to do the same. Imagine the impact of one small change. By simply choosing to take a walk every day, George not only improved his own health, but also inspired his friends and neighbors to get active. Over time, his example sparked conversations, ignited new friendships, and even motivated local community centers to start wellness programs for older adults. It wasn't just about him, it was about creating a legacy of resilience and hope. George started sharing his story openly, whether it was through casual conversations, community meetings, or even social media posts. His message was clear: no matter your age, you have the power to transform your life, and that transformation can have a ripple effect on everyone around you. This isn't just theory, it's something that many older men have experienced firsthand. There are countless testimonials online of men who, after embracing change, went on to mentor others, volunteer in their communities, or simply become a beacon of positivity for those around them. Building a legacy means leaving behind more than just memories. It means creating a movement, an ongoing, self-sustaining force that continues to inspire long after you've made your mark. George began organizing small gatherings in his neighborhood park where men could share their stories, exchange tips, and support one another. These gatherings grew into a community movement that reminded everyone that it's never too late to start over and that every small step matters. Now that we've talked about George's journey and the powerful impact of small changes, let's get into the nuts and bolts of how you can start your own transformation today. Here's a step-by-step blueprint designed for older men who are ready to reclaim their vitality. Step 1. Start with your plate. Your nutrition is the fuel for your body. Begin by making small adjustments to your diet. Swap out processed foods for whole, nutrient-dense options. For example, try replacing your regular breakfast with a bowl of oatmeal topped with fresh fruits and nuts. Research, even if some of it is still emerging, suggests that diets rich in fiber and antioxidants can improve energy levels and overall well-being. Step 2. Get moving. You don't have to join a gym or start running marathons. Begin with a simple walk around your neighborhood. Set a goal to add a few extra minutes to your walk each day. Eventually, you might incorporate light stretching or even resistance exercises that are gentle on your joints. The key is consistency. Small, regular bursts of activity can make a big difference over time. Step 3. Clear your mind. Mental health is as important as physical health. Try out simple mindfulness exercises like deep breathing or meditation. Even dedicating 5 minutes a day to quiet reflection can help reduce stress and clear your mind. If you're new to meditation, there are plenty of free apps and online videos designed specifically for beginners. Step 4. Challenge your beliefs. Take a moment each day to reflect on the thoughts that might be holding you back. Replace negative self-talk with positive affirmations. Remind yourself that change is possible at any age. Write down one thing you're grateful for or one small success you achieved that day. Over time, this practice can shift your mindset from one of limitation to one of possibility. Step 5. Connect with others. Don't underestimate the power of social connection. Reach out to old friends, join local clubs, or even participate in online communities focused on men's health and wellness. Share your journey, listen to others, and offer your support. Social interactions not only lift your mood, but also provide accountability as you work toward your goals. Step 6. Embrace technology. If you're not already using technology to support your journey, consider giving it a try. Use a health tracking app to monitor your steps, sleep, and heart rate. There are apps designed specifically for older adults that offer gentle exercise routines, meditation guides, and even meal planning tools. Technology can provide structure and help you stay on track, even on days when motivation is low. Step 7. Set a daily routine. Create a daily schedule that incorporates your new habits. For example, start your day with a healthy breakfast, followed by a short walk or stretching session. Dedicate a few minutes to mindfulness or meditation, and plan regular times to connect with friends or family. A routine not only helps solidify new habits, but also gives you a sense of control over your day. Step 8. Keep a journal. Documenting your journey can be incredibly powerful. Write down your thoughts, challenges, and victories. Over time, you'll see a record of your progress, which can be a great motivator on days when things feel tough. Whether it's a physical journal or a digital diary, tracking your journey can help you stay focused and reflective. Step 9. Join a movement. Finally, consider joining or starting a community of like-minded individuals. Whether it's an in-person group or an online forum, being part of a community that shares your goals can provide invaluable support and inspiration. When you see others making progress, it reinforces your belief that you too can change. Remember, these steps aren't about radical change overnight. They're about making small, manageable shifts that add up over time. It might seem overwhelming at first, but every big change starts with one small step. And as you begin to see improvements in your energy, mood, and overall well-being, you'll find the motivation to keep pushing forward. As we wrap up this journey together, let's take a moment to reflect on everything we've talked about. Life is full of routines, and it can be easy to feel trapped in a cycle that leaves little room for joy or change. But what if I told you that it's never too late to break free from that cycle? George's story shows us that even the smallest changes, a better breakfast, a short walk, a few minutes of mindfulness, can set off a chain reaction of positive transformations. Every day is an opportunity to start anew. Your past doesn't define your future. Whether you're dealing with health issues, feeling isolated, or simply tired of the same old routine, there's always a way forward. Embrace the possibility that change is not just for the young, it's for anyone willing to take that first step, no matter how small. Your journey toward renewal starts with you. It's about reclaiming your energy, rediscovering your passion, and proving to yourself that it's never too late to live a life filled with purpose and joy. Remember, the road may not always be smooth, and setbacks are part of the process. But with every step forward, you're building resilience, forging connections, and ultimately, leaving a legacy that can inspire others long after you've made your mark. So if you're ready to take that first step, if you're ready to challenge the notion that your best days are behind you, then let this video be your invitation to start over. Hit that like button, leave a comment sharing your first small step, and subscribe for more content that's dedicated to helping you live a life of vitality and purpose. The journey is yours, and every moment holds the potential for a fresh beginning. To wrap things up, I want to share some extra tips and stories from other men who've taken this journey. There are so many testimonials out there of older men who found new strength in community groups, embraced healthy routines, and even started new careers or hobbies later in life. These stories may not all be backed by rigorous science, but they're real, raw, and full of the kind of hope that can change lives. Check out some online forums, read up on books written by men who've walked this path, and most importantly, remember that you're not alone. Your story is waiting to be written, and every small effort contributes to a legacy of resilience and hope. Take a minute, breathe deeply, and reflect on the changes you can make today. It's time to rewrite your story, one small step at a time. The power to change your life is in your hands, and the future is brighter than you might think. By following these steps and embracing a mindset of small, sustainable changes, you can transform your everyday routine into a life full of energy, purpose, and connection. Whether it's through a healthier diet, regular movement, mindfulness, or building a supportive community, every step counts. Remember, change doesn't have to be overwhelming. It can start with one simple decision to try something new. So to all the older men watching this video, let this be the moment you decide that your journey is far from over. Your legacy isn't defined by the years that have passed, but by the steps you take today toward a more vibrant tomorrow. Your best days are not behind you, they're just beginning. Thank you for joining me on this exploration of transformation and renewal. I hope you found inspiration in George's story and the actionable steps we discussed. Now it's your turn to take action, make those small changes, and watch how they ripple out to create a life of passion, purpose, and lasting impact. The journey to a better life starts with one simple step. Are you ready to take that step? Let me know in the comments below what your first small change will be. And remember, every day is a new opportunity, every step a victory, and every choice a chance to build a legacy that will inspire not only you, but everyone around you. Keep moving forward, keep believing in yourself, and know that it's never too late to start over. Before we end, I want to leave you with a few more thoughts. There are plenty of resources available that can help you along this path. From online communities to local support groups and even books written by men who've transformed their lives later in life. Explore these avenues, share your experiences, and connect with others who understand what you're going through. Sometimes, just knowing that someone else has faced similar challenges can be the boost you need to keep going. There's an entire movement out there of men who are redefining what it means to age. They're not content to simply fade away. They're embracing change, seeking out new adventures, and proving that life only gets better with time. Let their stories inspire you. Let their successes remind you that no matter your age, you can still make a significant impact on your own life and on the lives of others. So, whether you're starting with a healthier meal, a brisk walk, or a moment of quiet reflection, remember that every little step counts. Your journey is unique, and every step forward is a victory over the inertia of the past. Embrace the challenge, celebrate your successes, and never let the idea that it's too late hold you back. Your time is now. Thank you for watching, for engaging, and for being part of this community of men who refuse to let age define them. I'm excited to see where your journey takes you, and I can't wait to hear about the small steps that lead to big changes in your life. Together, we can build a movement of resilience, hope, and renewal, one small step at a time. This has been a heartfelt look at how a simple decision to change can set you on a path toward a better, more fulfilling life. Your legacy is waiting to be written, and every new day is an opportunity to add another inspiring chapter to your story. Don't let routine keep you from living your best life. The power to transform your life lies in your hands, and it starts right here, right now. So take that first step, share your story, and let's build a future where every older man feels empowered, connected, and full of life. Your journey starts with one small step, and it could lead to a life you never thought possible. Thank you for being here, for listening, and for taking the time to consider a new path. Now go ahead and make that change. Your best days are ahead of you, and your journey to renewal begins today. By now, you've heard the story, seen the steps, and learned about the incredible potential for transformation that lies within you. The information and ideas shared here aren't just theories, they're a call to action. They're a reminder that no matter where you are in life, there is always room for growth, connection, and a renewed sense of purpose. So, to all the older men out there, if you've ever felt like life is just a monotonous routine, it's time to break free. Embrace the challenge, try one small change today, and watch how it transforms your life. Join this movement of men who are proving that age is just a number, and that every day holds the promise of a new beginning. I want you to leave this video with a renewed sense of hope and a clear vision for your future. Whether it's making a small change in your diet, taking a short walk, or simply reaching out to a friend, every little step brings you closer to the life you deserve. And remember, you're not alone in this journey. There's a whole community of men out there who are walking the same path, facing the same challenges, and celebrating the same victories. Your journey to a more vibrant, fulfilling life starts right now. It starts with a single decision to believe that change is possible. And once you take that first step, the possibilities are endless. Thank you for watching, and thank you for taking the time to invest in your future. I can't wait to hear about your successes and to see how you inspire others along the way. Remember, the best days of your life are still ahead, if you're willing to take that first step and make a change. Now let's get out there and show the world that it's never too late to live life with passion, purpose, and the unyielding belief that you can always begin again. Your journey is just starting, and every small step you take is a step toward a legacy that will inspire generations to come. Thank you for joining me on this journey. I hope you feel inspired, motivated, and ready to make those small but powerful changes in your life. Your time is now. Embrace it, live it, and create the life you've always wanted, one small step at a time.